It is Locked On Jazz for the 24th of November. The sacrifice is real for the Utah Jazz as they embark upon this season, and it continues. We'll describe what I mean by that. The Jazz and the NBA standings are set after 16 games. Maybe. An interesting look there. Previewing OKC and a lot of thankfulness. It's all coming up on today's edition of Locked On Jazz. Pow.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It is Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz, giving you insight, expertise, geeky numbers. I'm David Locke, radio voice and NBA Jazz insider. I did it in reverse today. Just thought I'd see if you were paying attention. It is Locked On Jazz. We are available and free on all platforms, including YouTube. You can subscribe right there and push the button and hit the little bell, and that will notify you when we do shows. Thank you very much for making Locked On Jazz your first listen of every single day. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Good morning to Bryce and to Ray, who've jumped on already this morning on our live edition, to Jeremy and Trey as well. So good morning to those live on our YouTube from Oklahoma City with a white wall behind me and not a lot exciting to show you. I wanted to talk about the sacrifice. The sacrifice for the Utah Jazz is real this year. And what I mean by that is that we are loaded with talent. And what we're particularly loaded with is offensive talent. And what we did in the offseason is added Hassan Whiteside, who at one point in time, and his career was pretty active offensive player. And we replaced George Niang with Rudy Gay, who at one point in his career averaged 20 points a game. And in San Antonio last year was a pretty active offensive player. We also have some other interesting little tidbits. So Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell missed the end of last season, and Bojan Bogdanovic's usage goes way up, and he's wildly successful. We have Mike Conley coming on the last part of his career, who just made his first All-Star game, and is still, able to do a lot with the basketball and score, and he's playing kind of a different role. And we have an emerging star in Donovan Mitchell, who's ready to take the next step and ascend to stardom. Here's the impact of this. If you put all of our players together, we did this at the very beginning of the season and talked about this as an upcoming issue. If you put all of our players together, take their average scoring opportunities in a night, which is field goals and free throws, not including turnovers, just scoring opportunities. You end up with, of our 9-man rotation, you end up with 100, and if everyone did their average on a given night, you end up with 116 scoring opportunities. Okay, that's a problem because on a given NBA night, you get about 80 shots and a few free throws, and you're kind of in the 90s. And the way I look at this is when I preview teams every season, if they're at 100, they're just fine. You'll have some injuries, things will go down. If you're at 80, like Oklahoma City was to start the year, you have a problem, or even lower. Where are all your possessions going to come from? You're going to tax some players beyond what they've been able to do, and you're going to have to try to figure that out. The next aspect of it is when you go over 110. So the Utah Jazz right now are over 110 when you put it there at 116. The minute you go over 110, if everyone's healthy, everyone has to sacrifice 10% to be able to get the team down to its numbers. Equally across the board, everyone has to sacrifice 10%. The minute one guy doesn't sacrifice his 10% because that's not where he is at his career, well, now other guys are sacrificing 15%. And the minute two guys don't want to sacrifice 10% because, well, that's their role, they score, they do that, then two guys are at 15 or 20%. If you are a longtime listener to Locked On Jazz, many years ago, the Boston Celtics came out with Kyrie and Gordon and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and another player that used a bunch of possessions. And I kind of signaled at the beginning of the season, said they have too many possessions. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves a few years ago, when they had Taj Gibson, was a player who actually used a surprising amount of possessions. This is why Royce O'Neal is actually wildly important to the Jazz basketball team. Because at 5 or 6 or 7 possessions a game, scoring opportunities a game, he's not taxing this number a great deal. Still a little, you'll see, but not a great deal. So let's look at the Jazz. So the Jazz, if they have Rudy Gay healthy and the whole 9-man rotation, are at 116. For the year this year, we've been using 96. Okay, so we have 20 possessions that have to be taken off of guys' averages and distributed. Now, Whiteside's playing a completely different role than his last time he played full-time, which was as a starter in Portland. And so that's an easy place to start to kind of dig into some of those possessions. On the other hand, if you kind of subtly look at what's going on with him, they're way up, right? Like in the last week or so, scoring opportunities usage by Hassan Whiteside is like back up to 8, back up to 8, back up to 8, back up to 9, like the last 4 games. He's been in double figures all 4 games. A lot of it's offensive rebounding. That's great. But his instinct, his background, his way he's played the game his whole life is getting scoring opportunities. He was at 12 in Portland. He's currently for us at 6. It's 100% decrease. Fine. He's at 6. He decreases 100%, is at 6. We're still at 110 to 96. We still have 14 possessions, scoring opportunities that have to be sliced. Seems easy. No big deal. They all should want to win. Yes, and they all do want to win. And they're all great guys. And the only reason we have a chance of this is because of that fact, that these are really good guys who are committed to each other, who do get along. But before we dig into the numbers, Jeremy, Trey, Ray, Bryce, Derek, any of you have a job. What do you do for a living? I'm going to use you as an example. Throw it in the chat room. But if someone comes to me tomorrow, hey, we're going to sign another play-by-play announcer, and you're going to lose 15% of the minutes that you call the game or words, I'm not happy. If you have our salesperson and they suddenly were to say to you, hey, Derek is an accountant. Derek, I'm going to guess, works in a firm. Hey, you're doing great work. I know you get paid on commission, and I know you get paid for your accounts. We're going to hire 1 or 2 more guys that are really good, or women, and you're going to do 15% less this year. Same amount of time, just 15% less. Less accolades, too. You all right with it? Tyler is a pharmacist. I have no comp on this one. Other than it would be that basically he was the lead pharmacist at wherever, and all of a sudden they bring somebody in and you're a co-pharmacist. Not so great. Right? If you're a salesperson, probably the best analogy out here. And as a salesperson, I suddenly take 15% of your client list from you. But hey, but our company is going to win a championship. No. Now, these guys have guaranteed money, and so that's a little different, but it's an ego-driven business in which they all want their accolades. It's not selfish. It's got to be misunderstood. It's natural human nature. If you're a professional athlete, you're wildly competitive, and to be able to be in that setting, you obviously have pride, and you like to be recognized. And let's be honest in this league. If you're averaging 15 points a game and you're averaging 11 points a game, we treat you differently. If you're averaging 12 points a game and you're averaging 8 points a game, we treat you differently. If Donovan's averaging 28 points a game or 22, he's an MVP candidate or he's not. Right? That Rudy Gobert averages 18 all of a sudden instead of 14, and people stop talking about how bad his offense is. Jordan Clarkson didn't win Sixth Man of the Year last year for averaging 12 points a game. Joe Ingles, looking for a contract extension, is impacted if he's averaging 4 points a game compared to 10 points a game. All still want to win, all still good people, but we have 116 possessions, and there's only 96 available. Let's use chocolate chip cookies as an analogy, because that's really where the world comes all the time. There's 116 chocolate chip cookies on a table. You come to work every single day. This is a lot of chocolate chip cookies, so we probably should have something else. So there's 16 chocolate chip cookies on the table, or 11. We'll call it 11.6 chocolate chip cookies, 11 and a half chocolate chip cookies on the table. And every day you've come to work, you've gotten 2 of them. Donovan's gotten 2 chocolate chip cookies every day he's come to work. Or come home from school as a young kid. And Jordan Clarkson's gotten 1.6, and Boyan's gotten 1.4, and Mike Conley's gotten 1.3. Mike, I'm sorry, you don't get your 0.3 anymore. You can only have 1 cookie now. Huh? Right? Hassan Whiteside, you've been having a cookie and a half every day. And coming here, you get half a cookie. Rudy Gay, you've had a full cookie every day. You get half a cookie. Rudy Gobert, you get to actually have more cookies. Donovan, you've been having 2.5 cookies every day. You get 2 now. Come on, be honest. No one loves that. So I'll break down the aspect of this and the impact of this in a second. It's the sacrifice is real. Does it mean they can do it? Sure. Are they good enough guys? Are they bad guys for actually maybe feeling this? No. It's how they play the game, how they're used to playing the game, and they're suddenly it's having to change. That's the reality. Today's show is brought to you by our good friends at Intercap Lending. Boy, if they're talking about a guy to be thankful for, it's got to be Steve Carter and what he's done for so many Locked On listeners and what Intercap has done. Intercap Lending is a lending company that's innovative, on the cutting edge, hyper responsive, and they have a rock star. And if we told Steve Carter that suddenly he gets less deals from Locked On, he would not be happy. This guy's amazing. The reviews and the experiences that we get from Steve Carter are just out of this world. And every time I see him, he's just such a delightful guy. I've done 2 mortgages with Steve. The amount of people we have sent to Steve are just through the roof. And each time, it's great. I got a text the other day from Chris, who we set up a while back, and he said, hey, thanks for the introduction. Of course, keep you posted on the journey. It was absolutely fabulous. Steve blew our minds and helped us through the entire process. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or whether or not you're a veteran, Intercap is the answer. They've done 2 of my loans. Steve Carter gets it done. He makes it easy. So give Steve Carter a call at 385-800-8528. That's 385-800-8528. Intercap Lending, NMLS number 190465. For more information, visit intercaplending.com. Today's show also brought to you by our friends over at Built Bar, where they are having massive, awesome sales deals going on for special deals on Monday and a special deal so go to built.com and keep checking out the deals as they come in on Black Friday and all the rest while you're eating too many treats and having 300 calorie pieces of pie and all the rest. Instead, you can get a low calorie, low carb, low fat, high protein, 100% real chocolate. Built is a great option for when you're hungry and to help you out, give you the little boost. Use the promo code LOCKED15. That's LOCKED15 to get 15% off at Built Bar. And actually, they have a special deal right now on some of the new puff flavors that is 20% off, or Friday will be 20% off site-wide. So make sure you use that. So I would actually wait a day before you order because 20% coming on Friday. And fruity cereal was the mystery flavor, if you were wondering, all week long at built.com. So here's the reality of what the Jazz are confronting. So far this year, Donovan Mitchell, who most people think is like, I've heard, heliocentric, which is a kind of an NBA term, and he's been ball hogging, he's been playing one-on-one. He's down 5%. His scoring opportunity usage is down 5%. Jordan Clarkson, like I got it, right? Bombing, guessing, missing, relentless. He's down 7%. Bojan Bogdanovic is down 3%. And boy, has he ever clicked in, by the way. He's just fabulous right now. What's interesting about Bojan being only down 3% is because last year Bojan went from 16 shots a game. He went from 15 shots a game to 13 shots a game. So he already took a fairly massive cut a year ago. And he's down a little bit right now. Per 36 minutes, he's exactly where he was a year ago. He's down a shot and a half per 36 minutes. So to some extent, he made that sacrifice. And then what's unique about Bojan that makes things interesting to kind of in the realm of sacrifice, and this is what you have to do to win a championship, but it doesn't make it easy, is if you go back and look at his, March and April last year, he's suddenly getting, he scores 19 and 26 points a game in May because he's getting every shot imaginable, and he was brilliant, right? In 10 games in May or 9 games in May, he shoots 52%, 46% from three, scores 26 points a game, and he's shooting 18 times a game. I think that's what felt natural to him last time he was out there. And now he's down even more. Mike Conley scoring opportunities are down 23%. That's why Quinn Snyder comes into a press conference the other night when he only takes 4 shots and gives him the accolades for being a dominant player with only 4 shots. Mike Conley's scoring opportunities down 23%. Mike Conley's the nicest guy in the entire league. He is great. Can any of you tell me that you would be happy with a 23% decrease of the equivalent of whatever your scoring opportunities are in your life, regardless of whether it might help your company win or your team win? That's 23% is a lot. He is unbelievably good right now. But Mike Conley has probably, Rudy Gobert is flat. Royce O'Neal is up 9%. Understandably, he wants to, he's still trying to prove. Rudy Gay is down. It's only been 3 games. It's a different role, but we'll see. I think this could increase. He is currently down 41% scoring opportunities from what he got a year ago in San Antonio. 41%. He had 10.6 scoring opportunities. He's now at 6.3. I think he's going to want 8 or 9. Where are they coming from? Hassan Whiteside is half of what he was in Portland. Maybe that's okay after Sacramento. We'll see. He's at 6. He hasn't been at 6 for 2 weeks, though. A week or about 5 games. Joe Ingles, who we yell and scream to shoot all the time, is at 6. He's down 33% from where he was a year ago. Okay. Maybe they'll be okay. Do you think Joe's going to be all right down 33% of his scoring opportunities than he was? Is Whiteside going to hold at being okay with down half? Maybe. Is Rudy Gay going to hold at 41%? Because if they don't, and they want a little more, 1, 2, 3 more each, where are they coming from? Donovan's down 5%. Jordan's down 7%. Boyan's down 3%. Mike's down 23%. Royce is up 9%. Where are they coming from? 116, if everyone got their average, and that has Whiteside at Portland. And they're currently using 97 scoring opportunities. They're short 20. They have an excess on average of 20 scoring opportunities a game. This makes it hard. You can, like I've seen, there's a bombastic person in the chat room. Fans pay for them to win. Okay, great. You can pay for them to win. They pay no different than when you played. Like wide receivers want touches. Players want at-bats. Right? Like basketball players want touches. They want shots. Who has ever walked in the gym and done defensive slides? No one. People walk in the gym and they shoot. How many people have ever led SportsCenter on the bottom line because of their defensive rotations? No one. I think this impacts offensive rebounding, transition defense, and all the little things. This is where it manifests itself. You run down the floor, you don't get another touch, you don't get back in transition. You run down the floor, you don't get another touch, you get back, you don't defensive rebound with the same vigor. Could be conscious, could be subconscious, could be not feeling quite as connected. We're fortunate that Quinn runs a system where they're all connected. We're fortunate that they're good guys. We're fortunate that they like each other. But honestly, as one of the most incredible speakers I've ever had in my entire life in Washington, D.C. in 1990, I think it was, spoke to us, old former Marine, telling us how the world is, young 20-year-old idealistic kids. And he used to look at us and say, and he said, and don't doubt it. I'm here to tell you, don't doubt it. Trust me. Don't doubt it. This is the biggest challenge for this basketball team this season. Holding this together while, as a group, lacking 20 scoring opportunities. I promise you, don't doubt it. OKC preview and a look at the standings and some of the chat room as well coming up. Today's show is brought to you by Truebill. I grabbed Truebill, and I am kind of pleased. It notified me of a bill that was due yesterday, and it's not what their selling point is, but it was interesting, and I was pleased. So we're advertising Truebill, and Truebill is a new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need, want, or simply forget. On average, people save up to $720 a year with Truebill because companies make subscriptions hard to cancel. Truebill makes it incredibly simple. Just link your accounts, and Truebill will cancel all your unwanted in one tap. And your Truebill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions so you don't have to. It has over 2 million users. It's helped save them over $100 million. So don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at Truebill.com/LockedOnNBA. Go right now to Truebill.com/LockedOnNBA. Save thousands. That's Truebill.com/LockedOnNBA. I look at my Truebill right now, and it tells me that I have $3 for Truebill Premium is what I paid for it. I got my paycheck. It tells me I have an online transfer, and it tells me I have Acorn, which I probably need to cancel, and I have Netflix, and I have Hulu. I was aware of that. And it runs me through the various kind of reoccurring costs that I have in here to see. And it also kind of shows me all of my stuff, and my payrolls come in and various deposits and things like that. So my reoccurring and all my reoccurring, my power bill, Hulu, Netflix, Peacock TV, Peloton, they're all here. All my little reoccurring bills. So anyway, check it out. It is Truebill.com/LockedOnNBA. What's the latest over at BetOnline? Check it out. Tonight, the Jazz in Oklahoma City. By the way, huge night of action tonight. Everyone's playing. Super fun NBA night. This is because we don't play Thanksgiving. So virtually every team in the league plays tonight. Lakers go into Indiana. They're a 3.5-point underdog. I'd like that. I'd be thankful for that. Jazz, Oklahoma City. We're up 12.5-point faves tonight. Milwaukee's a 15-point fave against Detroit. Boston is a 1-point dog in Brooklyn. That's probably the game of the night. Phoenix is a 7.5-point favorite to keep their winning streak alive. They are incredible right now. NBA futures conference. Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Miami are the real three contenders in the East. The Golden State's plus 225, Jazz plus 375, Lakers plus 450, and the Suns are still plus 500 and have won $1 million in a row. It's all at betonline.ag. Promo code LOCKEDON gets you a 50% welcome bonus if you want to play the Thanksgiving games. All right, let's go to some of the questions. This team needs athletic defenders on the perimeter to stop those ultra-athletic guards and wings and will not win a championship without that roster change on defense. Okay, that's not a terrible thought. Let me ask you a question. What about the shooting? Like, are you willing to go get Torrey Craig, who can't shoot, and we don't guard him? And then our number one strength, which is our spread floor and our rolling big? Is that the answer? Insert Jordan Clarkson in the starting five. That I do not think is a very good answer. But maybe. Let's see. That's what Ramona had to say. This team needs to lock in on defense. Offense, they start slow in the first quarter, and they have lack of energy when the opponent has a high-octane offense. Okay, to that regard, you're saying you add Jordan, you add some energy, but I don't think Jordan comes in and does, what you want as a starter. I think that's it. All right, here's our bombastic yeller. The problem is the entire Utah Jazz organization. We pay these players 500 times what a normal person would make, and we have to worry about how many shots they get. Absolutely pathetic. And officially, welcome to Cluelessville, because it's only the world you live in, and it has nothing to do with a normal person, and there's nothing normal about the world best. In fact, they're not getting paid more than the world best actors. They're not getting paid best than the world best CEOs, who probably might not even be that good. They're probably getting paid more than the world's best ballerinas and maybe the best Broadway actors, but not on Hollywood for entertainers world. So the fact of the matter is that was a clueless take. It's kind of similar when you talked about the other end of the spectrum when Royce kind of got the yips in Denver in the bubble. He wasn't used to so many shots. I think that's, there's a whole aspect of things when I talk to teams around the league that say, oh, well, so-and-so's not ready to take, he's not going to take that shot. That'd be too many shots for him. Here's an interesting one. I talked to 3 different people in the league last year. We're in Oklahoma City. What else am I going to do? I talked to people in the league last night. No one's worried about the Jazz. No one's worried about them. Everyone thinks they're great, that they're coming around. We're probably all way more worried than anyone else. And I think that's, and so we probably should realize that we're in our own bubble here on this. A few thoughts on Oklahoma City. They're 6-11. They're 29th offensively. They're 27th offensively in the half court. They're really, really good in transition defense. That's worth watching tonight. I want to know what they're doing in transition defense. They are the second best transition defense team in the NBA. So I would keep an eye on that. Josh Giddey's having a hard time shooting. They're rookie, but he's averaging 10.7 rebounds and 6 assists, which is super interesting to have that kind of. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is in a terrible slump. He's averaging 14 points over the last 5 games, shooting 27%. Obviously, we should win this game. We're on the road. This is one of those teams. There aren't many tanking teams left in the NBA right now, but they're one of them. And so that should be interesting. Here's a look at the standings. I think this is wildly interesting. And I find I find this really, really, really interesting. And that is, let's see if I can share this screen. I don't know if I am. If you look at the East, Brooklyn's 1, Miami's 2, Chicago's 3. Okay, Milwaukee's coming. Washington's 4, Charlotte's 5, the Knicks are 6, and Boston's 7. Milwaukee's coming. And Philadelphia has been brutally injured. So the East is a little convoluted. Milwaukee's going to be behind Brooklyn and ahead of Miami. They'll be in 2. And Philadelphia, I would think, will get up there. They've played with no players and kind of semi-survive. So I would suspect that Milwaukee and Philadelphia get in that top 4. Let's go look at the West. The top 4 right now is Golden State, Phoenix, Utah, Dallas. Are you changing that? Is there anyone in the Western Conference that you're putting in the top 4? Golden State, Phoenix, Utah, Dallas. When I did my preseason predictions using points gained, I had Phoenix, Utah, Dallas, and the Clippers. I did not have Golden State. The Clippers are 5. Portland is 6. Is there anybody in the West that you're putting in the top 6? Golden State, Phoenix, Utah, Dallas, Clippers, Portland. Denver's lost 5 in a row. Jokic is still hurt. PJ Dozier may have torn his ACL last night. Excuse me. Is Memphis catching Portland? Are the Lakers coming? I think Minnesota's good. I think Minnesota makes the playoffs. Are they coming? Or are the 6 set? Golden State, Phoenix, Utah, Dallas, Clippers, Portland. That could be the 6. I did not think the Lakers would play in the playing game, but they're 9-10, having played the softest schedule in the NBA at this point. They've had injuries. I got it. LeBron. I don't think that's going to go away, actually. That 6 might be set, and that 6 might be set in order. Kind of wild that the NBA that we're in it, and the fact of the matter is 20 games into the playoff, 20 games in the season is often the moment you look at and say, okay. But that top 4, other than Golden State, it's not surprising. I'm buying in at this point. Their schedule's been soft. I think Phoenix might catch them. I think we might catch them. It's interesting. And Ramona's right. Minnesota might break into the playoffs. They're going to break into the play-in. They're good. Minnesota's good. They have enough talent. And Denver's just crippled with injuries. Denver's the first one that now I think you look at and you say, okay, they're crippled with injuries. All right, that is Locked On Jazz. Have a very happy Thanksgiving. I'm super thankful to all of you for your commitment to the Locked On Podcast Network, to helping me build this thing as we've built it up. You've been a part of it, given me numerous ideas. Wildly thankful to the Utah Jazz organization to be able to have this quality of team, to follow the commitment of the players and the coaching staff, and to be able to be a part of watching this level of excellence on a nightly basis is just incredible. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate it.